channel. I'm still your favorite girl. Um, okay, now I reckon I said I wasn't going to give an introduction to this video just because I want it to be a little bit interesting. So I was going over and thinking in my head, what content am I going to bring to you guys? And guess what? I thought of pigmentation. Now, at everyone's point in time, you must have had the darkening of one area of a part of your face, or even all over your face or your skin. You must have experienced pigmentation, and some might not even know it is pigmentation. Some might not know that the process of pigmentation can cause hyperpigmentation or discoloration on the skin. Many of us do not know this, but have you ever thought about the process involved in actually getting pigmentation or the pigment to get out to speak that it comes out as pigmentation or hyperpigmentation or discoloration? Now let's jump into this, guys. We're going to be talking about pigmentation process. I want you guys to actually understand in the simplest form what happens and how you acquire pigmentation and how you get that hyperpigmentation you see on your skin, sometimes on your forehead or on your chin. Now, let's start with an illustration. Have you ever gone out under the sun or outdoor? If you're an outdoor person, you stay most of the time, you spend most of the time outside under the sun. You might be probably in the sides, you go to the market, or whatever thing you do if you're outdoor. Have you ever noticed that the same way you left the house, that's not the same way your skin looks when you're coming back? So have you ever been, I wouldn't say attacked, or have you ever heard from someone when you just arrive home and say, oh, you're looking so dark, what happened? Or someone say, oh, you're looking so tanned, what happened? Have you ever heard that? I'm sure most of us must have heard that because I've heard that. Yes, guess what happened? That is a pigmentation process that happened with you. That is the melanin coming up to your surface to protect you. Now, melanin, this pigment, it's not dangerous to us, but somewhat leaves a patch that at the end of the day, we really do not like how the skin looks like. But what it does, it comes out to protect your skin from the damages caused by UV rays from the sun, to protect your DNA of the epidermis, to protect you from photoaging, to protect you from a whole lot of things, the breakdown of your folic acid that we all need. Now, how did this, what's going on in the process? How did you now appear with all of a sudden a tan or a dark looking skin? And then you realize that after taking a shower, you sort of go back to how you were looking, almost how you were looking when you stepped out. And by the next day, it seems like everything is back to normal. But guess what? It takes 10 to 12 or even 14 days for pigmentation to be at its peak, for you to see that. Well, it's not a good experiment, but I've tried that in my process of learning. Okay, so let's get into it. What is pigmentation? Pigmentation is the coloring of the skin by a protective pigment or with a protective pigment called melanin. Now, this melanin are produced from the melanocyte cells. They're found in the skin. Let me just put it that way because I want everyone to actually get what I'm talking about. So, what happens? Why do they come out? Why do they come out to the surface and turn you up? Yeah, they come out to the surface when there's a signal that is passed on to them by the keratinocytes cells in your skin, which is like the upper layer of your skin, telling the melanocyte cells, oh, we need protection. So they come up to the surface and they sort of make you look tan a bit, and they go back in when they've done the jobs. What is hyperpigmentation? Hyperpigmentation is the darkening of this particular skin area or of the skin with what? Pigments. And what are the pigments called? The protective pigments are these melanin. So what happens? Why is it that we go dark and we go tan? It's because those the keratinocyte cells on the top on the surface of the skin, I mean on the layer of the skin, the top layer of the skin, had sent signals to the melanocyte cells that we're in danger. You should come out and protect us. So now there is now overproduction of this melanin from the melanocyte cells, and therefore they're transferred to the top the top part of your skin, like the keratinocytes. Yes, they come over to protect you. And when they do, it makes your skin look dark because that's the pigment, that's the coloring going on there. And now when you notice they've done their job, that's how you see, like, oh, I'm getting back my new tone. Now, this coloration of the skin is relative. Why do I say that? It depends on the amount of depends on the amount of melanin produced by the melanocyte cell in the stratum base of the skin, which is then taken up to the keratinocyte. Now, with dark skin, we have melanin like enough to protect us. But the pale looking skin does not. They don't have enough melanin. That's why you notice that people who have light skin or pale or the Caucasian skin, they easily get burnt by the sun because they have very melanin production in the system to protect them. Most of the time, they are more burned, they experience more sunburn than the dark skin. I'm not saying some of us do not experience sunburn. Of course, some of us experience sunburn. I've seen a dark skinned person have come up with a sunburn. It happens. But what I'm saying is, in a large scale, we are very much protected than those people with a pale skin. Because the pigment, the protective pigment, is the melanin we have that comes out to protect us when we're exposed to the sun. So that's more like a trigger, exposing yourself to the sun for a longer time without wearing protection. But mind you also, have you ever worn a sunscreen that you go out and you spend time outdoors, and by the time you come in, your face looks darker than the way you left the house? Trust me, such persons, if you're an outdoor person, it is advised that you reapply your sunscreen 2 to 3 hours interval. Now, by doing so, you do not get the pigmentation to come up on the surface. Now, of course, we're all happy that we're blessed with such pigments called melanin that protect us from all this, from the UVA rays, the breakdown of folic acid in the system. We're lucky that we all have all those. Yes, we do. But have you ever tried to protect yourself without allowing the melanin come up to your system, come up to the surface of the skin? That's the reason why we advise to wear a sunscreen. Yeah, that's the reason why. So now, how do you get the sun? How do you now see the patch in your face or the darkening of the area of your face, maybe in your forehead? Mostly we women will usually get them on the side, not just women, more men too. We do have pigmentation, brothers and sisters. We have pigmentation. That's why I say, hold your sunscreen tight. In fact, hug your sunscreen. Your SPF, your sun protecting factor, should be your best friend. Now, why do we have accumulation of this? Because over time, this exposure of the sun, of course, at that point in time, it feels like they've gone back. But do you know that it takes 10 to 12 days or even 14 days for you to start seeing a superficial pigmentation or a light brownish patch on your skin or a light brownish patch in your forehead or somewhere around your skin? Sometimes you notice people who usually wear sleeves like this, they tend to have a dark upper layer of the skin here, and then the color here, it's different from the one you have here. That's pigmentation over time. That's accumulation of it, the accumulation of the melanin on the surface of your skin. Now, other than damaging from the damage caused by UV rays from the sun rays, you also tend to experience damage of your folic acid, which all of us do need. We also tend to suffer the pigment. We tend to now get hyperpigmentation because what? We are not protecting ourselves. So, have you ever also seen, okay, I think we have cases of now of freckles. Yes, most are caused by the sun. They're caused by irregular accumulation of the melanocyte cells in the skin. But I'm not going to go into that yet. But do you know overexposure of the sun too can cause skin cancer? Yes. So it is not only the Caucasian skin that experiences skin cancer. The dark skin are also prone to having skin cancer if we do not protect ourselves. Have you heard of photoaging? What causes it? Overexposure of the sun also. When you ever expose yourself to the sun, you're not being protected. You cause the skin to age, to wrinkle up. Because what? The DNA have been damaged. That's what happens. And when that happens, it results to skin cancer. Now, what do we do? How do we prevent such things from happening? I don't know if I have somewhat been able to explain this very well to you the best way I can. But if you want me to talk more on this, you could leave a comment and then we can revisit this. I'm always here to serve you guys. And most importantly, please, in as much as we have this protective pigment called melanin coming to the surface to our rescue, we also need to protect ourselves with an SPF. Yes, that's why when you wear an SPF, because there's a fractionated, in most sunscreen, some of the sunscreen I wear, I think Zeta sunscreen has a fractionated melanin in it. So we tend to even look darker when we go out under the sun for a while and come back. We tend to look darker. But when you wipe it up, or take it up with a wipe, or you wash your face up, you've gotten your normal skin tone. And guess what? There are no pigments waiting for you 10 days later. There's no superficial pigmentation waiting for you. That's the sunscreen doing what your protecting pigment would have done. But the difference between the sunscreen and your protective pigment is that your sunscreen does its job and is easily wiped out. Now your protective pigment called the melanin, they do their job very well and they tend to go in, but they come back. They actually, they are at their peak in after 10 to 12 or 14 days. Then you now notice, oh, there's a light brownish part of my skin. It doesn't look even, or my skin looks a little bit discolorated. Yeah. Discoloration is also caused by that. That's why you say, oh, I have a sun-damaged skin. Of course, that's the process you've undergone. That's why you're having map of Africa here. Map of Africa, excuse me, but I like to keep it simple. All right, guys. The next time I'm on here, I'm going to talk about other things that the sun can do. Until then, please wear an SPF. If you're an outdoor person, try reapplying your sunscreen every 2 to 3 hours, because that would help you a lot. And you're wondering how I managed to achieve all this? It didn't happen in a day. It's a continuous process. As I'm speaking with you ladies, I'm in here, but the glass at my office doesn't stop me or stop the rays from coming in. What do you know? I still have to be protected. I have an SPF on. So it is something it's something that it is necessary. In my last video, I said, if you don't have anything, own a sunscreen. So next time I see you guys, I'm going to talk about different type of sunscreen, organic and in a physical or chemical sunscreen. It could be organic, inorganic, chemical, or physical sunscreen. So we're going to talk about the difference between the sunscreen. We're going to talk about how you should use. Like I said, it will go a long way for you. It protects you. Now, ladies and gents, I'm going to leave you guys right now. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe and also your notification bell. I'm still your favorite girl, Lily Belebolade. Ciao.